The Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on this Friday morning. We're glad that you've joined us wherever and whenever it is that you join us and make an Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. It's Brett and Randy here getting you started on a Friday morning. Randy, good to see you.
Glad to be here, Brett. Glad to be seen. Beautiful day, beautiful weekend on tap. And hey, we've got songwriters. Are you going to any of that around Lake Martin this weekend, Brett?
I don't really know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Sometimes I just get told what to do.
You're waiting on the wife to tell you what you're doing.
That's right.
But there's a big music festival, songwriters thing going on around the lake all weekend.
Right.
We're going to hit up a couple of those spots this weekend. So
should be nice.
It should be.
Yeah, we'll be on the lake at some point, and it's like really the last weekend before school starts back for teachers. So I was mandated that today and tomorrow we'd be on the lake, which I have no problem with. It's not like I'm complaining about that. I love it. So yeah, you can be forced to do other things that aren't as fun. I can promise you. I can promise you that. So I'll never be complaining about forced to be on the Lake Martin at any time. Before we get started, obviously some pretty important news. I think it was important news. I don't know. We'll process it. We'll talk about a couple of our partners real quick. Sensagreen for air that's cool and clean. Call on Sensagreen, the carrier experts here in the state of Alabama, proud supporters of our podcast here and Auburn Athletics. So if you want to save thousands of dollars on a new install, call on Sensagreen. They'll take care of you. Scout Program Management, a full-service construction management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama, serving all types of projects, but mainly school builds, renovations, those type of projects. I know they're building several indoor practice facilities for high schools right now. That seems to be the norm now, Randy, with all these new schools coming up and different things. And if you want to compete, you got to have a facility where you can get out of the weather. So we're about to do one here now at Xander City. So it is really, really kind of the new age. But Scout Program Management can carry you from the start of the project to the finished project. Make sure it's done correctly. And they'll check that punch list for you, and you want to do that if you're spending that kind of money. So call on them. And Bunkers, which we'll be at today. Faith and I will be at Bunkers at noon today. Looking forward to that. Been a long time. Talked to Alan Brewer this week. Come out and check us out at Bunkers. If you can't make it for lunch, make it part of your dinner plans. 27 bays there, 27 sports on all the simulator bays and 50 parking spots. So you don't have to worry about parking in downtown Auburn, which does suck, by the way, if you've ever been to Auburn the last anytime. It's terrible. So you don't have to worry about that when you go to Bunkers. All right. Executive order from President Trump. Again, I'm applauding his effort to step in and try to clean up this mess that nobody seems to have a grip on. So when I saw it come across, I was a little excited about it. And then I dove into it, and it really doesn't fix anything that Auburn fans were worried about, in my opinion. And I'll kick it to you, Randy, and let you give your thoughts real quick. But really the thing, and I've narrowed this down, there's one element of what Auburn fans have a problem with John Cohen said, and that nobody's been able to provide any clarity on, is that third-party NIL deals count toward the salary cap. Well, that's what he said. And he said it at Ambush, and there is no other way around it now. There are other groups that say the in-house NIL counts toward the salary cap, which I can see that. But I also can see why John Cohen thinks, why don't third-party NIL deals count toward the salary cap? Because if they don't, why the hell do we even have a salary cap? Because that's just a fictitious number that you go, okay, everybody's going to abide by until we want to go out and get somebody else and we've run out of money, so we'll just use a third party to do it. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think there's been any clarity. Basically what Donald Trump's executive order said was we're going to try to eliminate pay for play from third parties, which has been going on forever. I just don't know that it provides anything. I applaud the effort. And there are some parts of the executive order that I think you'll be glad to hear that deals with non-revenue sports. But on the surface, I don't know that we got anywhere with this.
No, I don't think from a pay-to-play standpoint that there's any teeth to any of it. And even if you do get legislation down, Brett,
I don't know.
How do you find a way to track exactly what is being given out of that collective and who's giving it? And if you and I are two major donors to the university and we've always done it a certain way over the last 100 years as a company, what makes you not be able to do that anymore? Because, I mean, they weren't tracking it then. And you say it better than most is, you know, when you lose every battle that goes to court at a certain point, you just stop fighting it. And it feels like the NCAA is there. And maybe the next 30 days, there's a little bit more teeth to this executive order as they discuss and try to find ways to clean some of this up. But until they're set up to be able to go into a court battle and win, Brett, I don't think that any of this means a hill of beans. And it's the concerning thing as an Auburn fan with our current thought process when that goes into recruiting, you know, and there's too many of us that listened in or read or saw podcasts like you and Face directly after the ambush event. And the thought is, all right, here are our three major competitors, and maybe you'll throw four in there from a recruiting standpoint. And that's Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. I think that you can throw LSU in there, but the three that we compete against the most are those three right there. Correct, Brett?
I think so.
If those three are playing on a different set of rules than we are, then I like trying to be the group that does things the right way and maybe stays ahead of the game, but you can't let yourself get that far behind. And so I don't want to be one that says just follow the crowd. You know, your old parents don't follow the crowd. You know, find good people to run with, do the right thing. You know what's right. Use
also do think there's safety in numbers too.
But you know, not in this type of game where the leverage points are 1,000% in favor of the recruits and the player at this point. And so whatever keeps you from offering what others are willing to offer, if you have the funds and the ability to do it, you're going to lose kids because of it. And so I don't think there's any answers here.
I've come off the ledge. I'm not worried. Look, whatever decision pans out to be right or wrong, Auburn will still be fine. I really believe that because they've still got their money. They'll go make up the difference in the portal. This is a different age. Look, if you didn't have the portal, I would be concerned. But hey, look, you know, if there's 8 or 9 spots left available in this class, and it proved that Auburn should have been continuing business as usual like everybody else, then just spend your money in the portal, go get the 9 best players you can get out of the portal. And they're going to be veterans. They're going to be experienced. And I don't know that you lose anything there. Now, on the flip side, going back to your comment just now, why are you trying to be the flag bearer for something that has so much ambiguity? I mean, you're jumping out on a ledge going, well, we're going to do it this way because we don't feel like we can offer these kids, or we don't know that we can follow through with the offer that we give. I appreciate that. I know you do too. I do. Because if I were in some parents' shoes and some of these coaches coming into my house and they were telling my son and us, we're going to give you $3 million over X number of years, and we're going to do all this stuff. And then 4 months later, before it's time to sign on the dotted line, they come back and go, hey, man, I'm sorry. You know, with all this stuff going on, we're not going to be able to do what we said we were going to do. No, we can do this, but it's not going to be with that. Well, now you've wasted all this time that you could have been talking to other schools, I guess. I mean, you're still going to be talking to other schools, and you'll still have some deals on the table. But, you know, if you've kind of made your mind up, you're going to go there and they come and pull the rug out from under you. It does look bad. Okay? I mean, it does. So I appreciate what Hugh Freeze and John Cohen are saying there. But I don't know that they're clear on what the rule is my point. And I think there's other people out here talking about this that feel the exact same way that I do. I don't know that somebody just tell me that third-party NIL deals are not or part of the cap. That's what I want to hear. That's the part of John Cohen's statement that I think people are worried about, because the rest of the schools are interpreting it as not. You know what I mean? It's not going to count toward the cap. So we're going to continue to move forward and do the things that we need to do. And then they're looking at it as 2 pots of money instead of one. That's really what it boils down to.
Well, it's been the gray area from the start of this, Brett, is that collective.
And why can't we just get somebody to give us some clarity? Who the hell out there can just tell us? And there's somebody can tell us.
Well, I don't think without it going to the courts and without it going into a legal front and having an executive order and some legality that is thrown down, I don't think that we're going to get anywhere. I don't. And Bruce Pearl said that 3 or 4 years ago. But as you talk, let me ask you this, Brett.
Mm-hmm.
We talk to a lot of kids, know a lot of parents that have had kids and are currently having kids being taught to in a number of different sports. Let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Don't you feel most parents realize that this thing's a moving target right now, though? Like, whatever. Okay, so whatever a kid that's a senior at Auburn right now, whatever they were offered 5 years ago when they were in high school to come to Auburn or Alabama and play, don't you think those offers have changed every single year and they've had to renegotiate because there's not a contract? I mean, you don't have something in writing that you're having to adhere to.
No.
I feel like, the players, if the leverage game leans more in their direction one year over the other, and they play that game. Wouldn't you, Brett, if you were them, and if more opportunities became available like they are over the last couple of years, and especially over the last year, you're gonna play that game every single year because you're not sitting there under a multi-year contract. So my point is, parents, I think, are smart enough to realize that you're offering what you feel the rule allows today. And here's what I think your kid's worth if these are the set of rules that we're going to play under. But those set of rules, the same as, how many games you play in SEC and every set of rules, and, who makes the championship game and how many teams make the playoffs. You and I have had a light conversation on why the hell's Auburn want to go over and play Baylor when we've got a tough enough schedule. We just need to keep our win-loss record strong so we can get into the playoffs. Same thing here. That changes every year. Beforehand, you wanted a good out-of-conference schedule. Now, I'm not sure that helped anybody. Last year, it was more the record. But back over here to the recruiting side, if it's a moving target and I offer a kid 3 years, $5.7 million, which is, I think, the number that Texas Tech did the offensive tackle. That's a number top of mind for me right now. But then somebody comes back and says, you did it on this set of rules, but now we're changing it over to this, where you're going to have to go back to the parent and the kid and change it up. Does that make sense? I mean, my point is, I don't think that a player should consider whatever they get offered today in July of 2025, if you're a high school senior, that those set of rules,
a firm offer.
That those set of rules are going to be the same in July of 2028 when you're
because you don't know what next week's going to be.
Also, let's say you get offered a couple $100,000 a year just to get this marginal 4-star on campus, and then all of a sudden next year he's an All-American. You're going to have to go back in and renegotiate that thing anyway. Caleb Downs, there's a prime example of what happened with Alabama and him heading off to Ohio State. I mean, I don't think it's worth anything because you don't have that contract that you've been pleading for a while. And until that contract gets in play, I feel like you got to go in as a recruiter and have the ability to offer the same that the guys that you're going up against are offering.
I think the bottom line is this is always going to look. It's already changed this week twice. You had an attorney settlement with the CSC to allow collectives to come back into play, and then Trump orders an executive order 2 days later, and now you're changing the narrative again. And so, what's next week going to bring? Until you do what you just said, and that we've been talking about for months, until you make these, and until you make them contract employees, which the executive order is completely against. It's trying to say we don't want to make college athletes employees. We want to keep the amateurization part of it. I mean, basically, the summation of this thing is it's aimed at preserving college sports opportunities and preventing college athletes from becoming professionals. That's what the executive order does. But I don't see a path to fix all this and get rid of all these gray areas until you have people signing contracts and holding them to what they say they're going to do on both sides, whether it be the player agreeing to stay at that school for 2 or 3 years, or whether the players expecting the school to give them what they signed to get. That's really what it boils down to. I mean, I think we all know the answer and the solution, but everybody's trying to go all the way around and weave through and try to figure out a way to get there without doing what we know we've got to do eventually. That's what I think.
I think it's a word salad.
Well, it is a word salad.
I think it's funny to say that you want to keep these kids amateurs. I mean, I heard the number of Cooper Flagg last year, how much money he made as an amateur athlete at Duke. Was it $25+ million, Brett? Wasn't that the number that he generated for himself?
Yes.
Am I to think that he was an amateur last year? Am I to think that the quarterbacks for any of these colleges that are probably averaging in the SEC $2 to $4 million a year to be the starting quarterback in the SEC, am I really thinking they're amateurs? Really? No. So none of it makes any sense to me. And until there's
it's just a title.
Until you put them on a contract and get something set up that way, I don't think we're going to have an answer for it. But I see Faith jumping in, and I'll step aside. I will throw out there, getting busy over in the Auburn market. So stop by and see us at either Sign Source or Sign Essentials right there on Opelika Road. We've got a new office in both of those locations. T-shirts with Lee Apparel, screen printing and embroidery. Our phone number is 256-825-0197. So from the start of any signage project to all the ASI needs that you may have, give us a call over there, and I'll be tuning into y'all. Faith may have an answer on how all this is going to work.
She's got it all figured out. We're all waiting. That's what we've been waiting on. I mean,
yeah, right.
I'll see y'all today.
All right, buddy. All right. Good morning.
What's going on?
I mean, just, another day of clarity here with NIL that, yesterday we talked about for an hour, and here we are once again talking about it more. But before we get to that, Sure Shot now at CDN, we had a good trip to Sure Shot yesterday.
We sure did. Had a great time going over there, catching up with Scott. I mean, if you looked at my face when I was in that store, you would have thought I was a kid in a candy shop that has never tasted sugar for the very first time, and had it there. I mean, I was having so much fun there. It was awesome. They literally have everything that you could ever want: firearm, apparel, hunting, claims.
I didn't think you were ever going to leave, to be honest. I thought, well, you're just going to stay here the rest of the afternoon. So.
And I would have been perfectly content staying right there the whole time. So I had a great time in there. We're actually going to be headed back there, I think, hopefully next Saturday.
Okay.
Next Friday is a big day. So I'm looking forward to going back over there.
Well, they've got, like you said, everything that you need. And I'll have a picture to show everybody soon of the perfect stance of shooting a gun. I won't let the cat out of the bag. I'll just surprise everybody with that picture.
Wasn't the perfect stance.
The perfect stance of how you were shooting that gun yesterday. I mean, I think everybody needs to see the form and what's in Scott tutoring and teaching you what to do there. So I think everybody would enjoy that. So we'll flash that up at some point in time. But go check out Sure Shot, man. They are awesome. Did have a great time yesterday, and go call them if you're looking for something. Then you want to check ahead. 256-329-0080.
Oliver Ross, if you've got a party of 20 or a party all the way up to 20,000, weddings, sorority, fraternity, date parties, tailgates for this fall, anything like that. Oliver Ross is certified and licensed bartenders who are going to be able to take care of you. They're awesome. They're professional licensed bartending service. So they'll come in there, they'll do their thing, let you do your thing, and then they'll clean up and get on out of there. But great people.
Yeah, they are great people. And again, just to kind of remind everybody, we will be at Bunkers today. There's another smile from Faith. I'm looking forward to it. And it's been too long, so looking forward to seeing the guys. And
Steak sliders. I'm so excited.
They need to go ahead and just be prepping for that right now. So so that's taken care of. They'll just be waiting on you when you get there. All right, some comments coming in. John said, looking at the list of financial values now associated with the list of universities based on revenues and coaches' salaries, the NIL is reasonable. Glenn said, I plan on committing to CAC for baseball so I can be a professional athlete. No kidding, man. I mean, just the amount of money, and we talked about this earlier in the week, the amount of NIL value that Texas A&M had last year versus the Florida Marlins 26-man roster in Major League Baseball was, I think they outspent them by $7 million. So yeah, it's wild. Let me bring up one part of the executive order that I think is good that President Trump initiated yesterday. That schools that operate with $150 million or more in their budget must provide the max scholarships in non-revenue sports. So, and that's a, that is a push to try to keep things equitable through Title IX. Now, that's just through scholarships. That has nothing to do with the amount of money, which is still way off when you compare it to, football versus women's volleyball or softball or whatever you want to do. And that's what Title IX is supposed to do, is look at the whole big picture and make sure all sports are equitable across like facilities and stuff like that within reason. And I know there's revenue versus non-revenue sports, but that whole title or topic rather hasn't even been talked about. We bring it up a little bit, but that's still out there waiting in the weeds for whatever group of lawyers and committees that are formed to come address this, because somebody's going to raise that question of why Title IX is not being mentioned in all this, but it's coming.
So, all right, let me ask a question, because I think maybe some other people might have the same questions, or maybe, I don't know. This is just me asking for clarification from you. So if the president is asking is making the bill for the NCAA, I thought the NCAA was no longer in control of.
I think he's trying to bring power back to them. Trying to give them some.
Okay.
He's trying to get, because there's not a governing body right now, really.
Right.
I mean, there is a governing body, but they don't have any power. I think that's what you're trying to say. Yes,
because you've got the College Sports Commission,
right? Which I think's so far been a joke. But anyway,
So President Trump is trying to bring back the NCAA and give them the power.
Well, I think the NCAA is still there. I mean, it hasn't dissolved,
right?
Yeah. But
we've also talked about how a lot of these, these teams in these big conferences like the SEC and such, that they might just they might just leave and not be part of the NCAA and everything like that. So this, I guess still kind of is just.
We don't know anything. I don't know if you caught the first part of what Randy and I were talking about, but I said this. I don't think. The attempt is to try to prevent college athletes from becoming professionals. I think we're too late on that. I think we're too late. I think it's already been done. And I think the question all Auburn fans have is, all right, regarding the salary cap and regarding NIL, are third-party NIL deals part of the cap or not? Well, according to John Cohen, they are. I mean, you and I heard it. He's sitting right there at a table at Willow Point at the ambush, and the rest of us in the media sat there and heard him say that. And I don't know that we've heard anybody else say that. And if anything, we've heard people say, well, that's not right, that the third party stuff. But then again, to repeat what I said to start the show, I can absolutely see why John Cohen thinks that, because if third party NIL deals aren't part of the cap, then why the hell do you even have a cap? It doesn't mean anything. All that means is that your in-house revenue, you can share it however you want to, and then whatever the difference out there is of, if I need some more money to pay this guy, then I'll just go get it from a third party. I mean, there's no need to have a cap if you're going to be able to use all these outside things. And then also, Faith, and I want your take on both of these, your take on that part, and then the second part that you and I talked about a little bit yesterday. How can I determine what you're worth? I mean, how do I know what Faith Richardson's worth? Why am I putting a value on that? How is somebody going to objectively say Faith Richardson's worth X number of dollars, but over here, this other school's trying to get the same equitable person approved for a deal, and they say, no, that ain't going to work. That's too much for that person. Who's been granted that authority?
I mean, I don't know, but here's the other thing that I've been thinking about since NIL and kids are getting an insane amount of money right out of high school. How have you been able to prove in yourself and show your worth coming out of high school when you haven't stepped foot on a college field?
It's all anticipation. It's all speculation.
But I think here's my thing. I think if you prove yourself,
right,
that's when you can go to show your worth.
I think we're seeing that a little bit already, proving your point with the transfer portal, right?
Right. And Nico is a great example of him going back to Tennessee saying, I'm worth $2 million, and then them saying, we're not going to pay you that, and him saying, okay, well, somebody else is. Then he hits the transfer portal. He finds out he's not even worth $1 million. And now he just plummeted.
You find out, you test the waters, you find out. I agree.
Right. But I don't know. I think going and not coming right out of high school, NIL is a great way to get kids to come to your school. But part of my thought process is, if you're paying somebody so much money right out of high school and they do not even step foot on the football field, or you're getting promised that, if you commit in July, you've got August, September, October, November, you're getting a payment from the school to keep your commitment. You could go and get hurt. You could go and do, so much of that is just not registering right with me.
I think also, to your point, that if things stayed the way they are, I'm going to be a lot more apt to go spend money in the portal for a guy that's proven himself than a guy coming fresh out of high school. It's going to hurt. Like, these high school kids may think, oh, this is going to help me. Like, for the upper tier 5-star guys, it probably will be still fine. But for some of these other, even 4 stars that may be really good players, these schools are going to go, hey, I can go get this guy over here, and he's still got 2 years of eligibility, and he's already set the woods on fire in college. I know what he can do at this level. I ain't real sure you're going to pan out. So I'm going to go take that money this year and give it to this guy in the portal. And this guy over here may not get the offers that he would have gotten at one point in time because of that. So I think you're spot on. I really do. I think speculating, like John said, with the stock market, if I know, like some people are a lot more out, like some people are more risky in life. They put their money in a little bit more riskier things, investments, and they're like, because maybe they have more money to spend. And if they lose it, it's not as big a deal. Other people need more assurity on their value and their return. So they go with the safer option, the more secure option, the one that is the higher percentage of panning out. Does that make sense?
Right. And it's the same thing with going and looking for a job. You know what I mean? You start at the entry level, then you work your way up, or you have people that go and will take a big risk on you, bring you into their company, and could be a bust or it could work out for the good.
Right.
So it's crazy that some of these things are so, like, just the amount of money for the uncertainty of what's going to happen and how all of this is really just taking away from the college sport. Because especially as somebody that graduated college a semester early, just a semester early, okay, I could not imagine transferring to another school and finishing out my degree a semester early. Or some people, they graduate a year early, but now we're seeing a lot of people in 4, 5, 6 years in college. But don't you want to go still to college to get an education? And I know some people might be, well, they don't need to, they're just going to go to the NFL. If they get hurt or if anything like that, you're going and you're getting your education and your housing and your food, everything. Just like Michael said, when I read that, I thought you're getting everything at school for free.
And we've diminished that. And I say I think everybody has. I know we've tried on here to say, hey, look, that there's a lot of value to that, because me as a parent, hey, I have to pay those bills. Hey, if somebody were to come in and told me Braden gets all that for free, I could say, man, that's unbelievable. Well, now these athletes have been just they just expect that to be just a given, rather than, hey, you do realize there's value attached to this too. And there's a lot of value attached to this, what you're getting, but they've diminished that because everything's all about the NIL deal and the amount of money, cash that you're going to be able to get. So Michael's spot on there. I think a lot of people still feel the way he does. Now, I don't think anybody is arguing that these players should get something, but we've, again, just completely swung the pendulum so far to one side that we've given.
You're getting paid more than professional athletes. And that is just where it is unfathomable to think that, okay, so you're playing in college right now. Well, guess what? When you go to the NFL, you're probably not ever going to see the field. And you're also going to get paid a quarter of what you're getting paid in college right now. So what's the point of you wanting to go? And again, I can guarantee a lot of these kids aren't saving their money. So it doesn't even matter, because guess what? You're going to have to use that degree that you probably don't even want to, you probably don't even want to use that degree, because that's not what you actually want to do. And you're going to have to go and find a real big boy job.
Yep.
You can't do that because you didn't get a degree in what you want to do, and you probably don't have any money, and you're not going to make any money.
Well, we're setting them up to have a lifestyle they can't sustain.
Right.
Correct. That's what we're saying. John said there will always be players who end up being a bust, not living up to expectations yet. So you gotta be a little bit more savvy with your roster management and all in spending the money. Ed said, great point, Faith. But they have stats out there that prove that 5-star athletes earn their value 80% of the time. Why it's so important to be in the recruiting game. Yeah, I mean, again, though, I'll say this, Ed. I agree. There's only a certain amount of 5-stars out there, and I think I just said more than not, it's not going to affect the 5-stars as much as the higher 4-stars and on down with this money, because now the transfer portal plays such a huge part in it. And there's guys that have proven themselves versus a guy that has potential to prove themselves. Look, we can all use a current example, and this is not a shot against Perry Thompson. Perry Thompson, everybody wanted, right? And, when you go out and spend that money on Perry Thompson, he's 2 years in, and he hasn't really done anything to this point yet. Some look at and Randy's given this, basically this scenario. Anybody not think Eric Singleton's not going to pan out this year? No, there ain't a single soul out there that doesn't think Eric Singleton's going to pan out. So doesn't diminish that Perry Thompson was a 5-star coming out of high school, but he has nothing to show right now college-wise. So in my opinion, his value is nowhere near what Eric Singleton's is, and that's why Eric Singleton demanded and commanded what he got out of the portal. It's real simple. Now, Perry Thompson lights the world on fire this year, and then the next year, then he could get in the portal and demand what Eric Singleton probably demanded to come out. But you, again, going to your point, Faith, it's prove yourself. You know,
that's exactly what Tim just said. I'm of the opinion that they shouldn't get money until they're on their team proving themselves. They shouldn't get money just to show up when they haven't proven anything at that level. That's the exact point that I'm fully with and for and agreeing with, because again,
and that goes right along with the point of me telling everybody to sign 2-year contracts.
That's literally what my dad and I were talking about last night.
Sign a contract, and then at the end of 2 years, okay, Perry Thompson, if you've burned the woods up and set the woods on fire, go back and say, hey, to keep me here, I need more money. I need I need a better deal. If not, if Auburn goes, well, I can't do that, then you have the freedom to get in the portal and go see if you can get that deal, like Nico did this year.
And John saying the values of the school's football programs along with the coaches and salaries and have this discussion. All right, let me say one thing. This is kind of two different things, but Butch Thompson just got a raise, right?
Right.
To get $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. How long has he been at Auburn, and what has he accomplished?
You're exactly right. Such a good
And I know this is baseball, but okay.
We don't give high school degrees to kindergartners because they passed their coloring test, do we?
So now we're offering kids out of high school something close to that level
that hadn't done anything.
That
literally hasn't done anything.
What, he's brought Auburn to 2 College World Series,
right? And
look at this too. He got them to host a super regional. Now he's getting his raise.
Isn't that how life works?
I was gonna say, does that make
how
sense?
Everything else out here and even in pro sports, Faith, when when somebody gets drafted, it's usually not the first contract's their biggest contract. The second contract's usually their really make hay contract.
Right.
You know why? Because the team has to look at it and see, were you worth the investment? Did you perform at the level we thought? And if you did, then you've provided the market value yourself based on your performance. I mean, why are we in such a hurry? Because it's a fight through all these colleges to get the best players, and they're willing to just sling crazy money just to get the guy to commit and sign with them, and they're willing to take a chance on it. And if it busts, well, they'll just go get the next guy. That's the problem in itself right there, is that you're throwing a lot of loose money around, and it just seems like there's just unlimited supply. But all we hear on the flip side is we don't have an unlimited supply. We got to really manage what we've got, and we've got to be frugal, and we got to do more roster management stuff. But all these big-time colleges throw money around like it's just growing on trees.
John said they get big salaries in the NFL, and that's based on their playing college. So a high school player is in the same situation when headed to college. 100% disagree.
It's not even the same thing.
If I looked at myself,
it's not the same level.
Right. But think about it at a personal level. If I looked at myself when I was 17 years old versus what I look like now.
Right. It's totally different.
That's just a personal level of your growth and what you gain in college. And think about the coaching staff. They're preparing you to go to that level.
And this is not a shot at 1A or 2A football, but if you've been competing, I know, look, we just got a kid from 1A, and I think he's going to be a great player. But you know what? There is going to be a learning curve for Jaquez Wilkes playing in 1A. I don't care that he's 6'4", 220. You know, he's not going against the competition that Jared Smith went against every week at
He's not
Thompson
even
High
playing
School.
his position.
Well, that's my point. Exactly. So you're looking at. I mean, I hear in principle what John is saying, but you're crossing over from high school to playing at the highest level of SEC, where you got a kid coming in at 18 years old playing against a guy that's probably 22, and and the talent level is unbelievable. I mean, it's not the same crossing from high school to college. I mean, it's more comparable to cross from college to pro because of what you just said, Faith. Developmentally, you're different at 22 years old than you are at 17 years old. So yeah, you've grown in progression. You've probably hit your growth. You've probably maxed out on what you're going to be. And so, yeah, I don't see that part of it. And again, you are really risking more with high school guys, because I remember back in the day that it wasn't even, I know things have changed, but you wouldn't ever play a freshman. And I think Bear Bryant said that for every freshman you started, you could count that as an L. Now I know that times have changed dramatically, because if you got a sure enough top player coming out of high school that can play, he's going to find his way on the field. But that's not the mass majority. We're talking about a very select few top upper echelon 5-star guys that are ready to come in and contribute. I mean, it's not like you've signed your first contract in pro ball and you've proven yourself for a couple of years and you come back to the table and you're ready to sign your bigger contract. We're giving, like you said, Faith, big contracts to kids coming out of high school that have not proven that they can compete at that level yet. John keeps bringing up speculation, and that's all it is. You're speculating that kid can compete at this. You don't know. Again, we're still waiting on the ROI for Perry Thompson, aren't we? Now, he had a good spring. Yeah. He could have a really good year. It's going to be hard for him to get on the field this year with the wide receivers that we have, because the wide receiver room is so.
Unless he moves to that tight end position that, that's right, some reps in. But again,
I mean, we're still waiting on that. So when you're trying to if we're really managing money and having all this, roster management going on and having to watch the amount of money we spend right now, that money that we spent on Perry Thompson is just still sitting over there simmering. I mean, we don't have any results yet. Not saying that we won't have some, but that's how it is. I'm saying that the Eric Singleton, Perry Thompson comparison that Randy threw out there is pretty adequate. That I don't think anybody is thinking Eric Singleton is not going to pan out. If you had to put a percentage on him panning out this year, I think it'd be 90% or higher. And if you had to go and say, what is the percentage that Perry Thompson has a breakout year at Auburn this year, I don't know that people would put it much above 40%, because we don't know if he can even get on the field. So it's crazy. So, all right, a couple more partners here on the program, Faith, and then we got a busy Friday ahead of us and excited about being at Bunkers.
Yes, Old Number One Customs. If you've got an outdoor seating or outdoor entertainment patio, whatever it is, or if you've got your kitchen, got your master bathroom, anything like that, Old Number One Customs is going to be in and out of your house when they renovate in just 2 weeks. So don't DIY it in 2 years. Get it done in 2 weeks with Old Number One Customs.
334-752-6162.
JFA Blue Plumbing. Go ahead and get that Home Atlas water filter duo installed at your house. It's $15.99. It's going to make sure that you've got filtered water throughout your whole entire house. And that's really important with how much water you should be drinking, your pets, your family, everything like that. 844-JFA Blue.
Can't remember that number. Nothing we can do to help you there. So, Harsin and Fisher were paid based on speculation. How did that work out? Most coaches, though, John, have worked their way up to a point where they're able to get a head coaching job. They were coordinators. They followed. Again, some head coaches pan out, some don't. But Brian Harsin didn't get the Auburn job out of high school. Jimbo Fisher didn't get – Jimbo Fisher was the offensive coordinator when I was at Auburn. He worked with Damian Craig. He was the quarterback's coach. Jimbo Fisher didn't get the Texas A&M job or the Florida State job when he was 23 years old after graduating college because he was a good high school coach or a good GA. I mean, I think the point is we've all worked. You don't get to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company because you did really well on your you did real good in grad school and you're really good at economics. I mean, I think we've lost. That's the point we've lost is that how about working your way up to that and earning that? There's a reason there's structures. I go back and I know it was kind of a silly example, but we're not ready to award high school diplomas to kindergartners because they can color within the lines, right? You may look at him and say, well, that kid's talented, man. Go ahead and give him a high school diploma. What the hell? I think he's going to be great. There's a reason you go from first to second to third to fourth to fifth and you progress and you do things. What we're trying to do now is make junior high kids college athletes and go ahead and lock them down, pay them all this money. I mean, you're just creating a monster. I've talked to too many coaches that have said we are absolutely setting majority of these kids up for failure. It's our fault. We're giving them all this stuff, and when they get out of here, they're not going to be able to sustain this lifestyle, and we have tempted them with all this stuff, and they're going to have to resort to things that aren't good to be able to try to maintain it. I mean, I can argue with anybody on that all day long. That's how I feel about that. So Michael said nursing students should be pissed. Their profession is essential and much more important, but the pay for their education while working for free during internship. I mean, and again, different professions are, I know how hard nurses work because I was in the college arena for so long. And those students put in so much time and effort and long hours and stuff, and they do it on their own dime. And I know that in athletics, God has really blessed some of these players, female and male, to do what they do. And it provides them an opportunity. I'm just saying that the system they operate in is broken. I'm not blaming the kids. If I could get $5 million as an 18-year-old, I'm signing up for that. I think everybody on this podcast watching and listening would sign up for that. It's not the kids' fault, it's the system. It's the adults. They can't figure it out. So, and pretty much the athletes have all the leverage. So John said there definitely needs to be some type of structure. I believe that's what President Trump is headed. And there's no question. That's why President Trump did what he did. He's trying to bring some structure back. I don't know that he can, though, based on all of this stuff and how much toothpaste is out of the tube. I applaud his effort. You know that, John. I really do. I mean, we'll see what's able to come out of that. All right, Faith, bunkers time today at lunch.
It is. I'm excited.
For the
best day ever. Sorry, I was
no. For the steak sliders.
Oh, steak sliders. Yeah, I was.
That
was not good.
I was trying to prep you for what you were excited
No,
about.
I'm excited for the steak sliders and hopefully playing some sort of game that is not.
I can't wait. We're going to be taking some swings today.
No, not golf.
Got to.
I can't.
Yeah, you can. See, now don't ever say can't. See, I try to tell everybody, don't put can in your vocabulary. Never say that. You never will if you say you can't.
Amen. So, we'll see everybody at 11:30 at Bunkers.
That's right. With steak sliders and what else did we get? The
buff chicken.
Buffalo chick. Yeah, that'll be a staple too. So,
yep.
All right, now I'll let you say.
I hope everybody has the best day ever.
Absolutely. And a big old
War Eagle.